When the sun goes down, the stars come out. From deep in the heart of Texas, it's the Star at Night. Coming to you from the Cowboys facility at the Star in Frisco. With your hosts, Kelsey Charles and David Hellman.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Star at Night. I am your host, Kelsey Charles, joined by Santa Dave on this happy Victory Monday to all you Team 40 Burgers. Dave, you're so festive today. I know you're celebrating the win, but dang.
I was gonna say we wish you a berry Christmas, but berry happy Victory Monday works too, I guess. Sure.
I love that. Well, I don't think everyone is happy though. Team Tank is unthrilled with the development of potentially slipping in the draft position. So I kind of want to just talk about how yesterday went down, your thoughts on the defensive performance, some of the key guys that stood out to you, and really what the lay of the land is for all of Cowboys Nation heading into this final stretch.
This is what I keep saying. Like, listen, it's not up to us whether they win or lose. Like, we don't have anything to do with that. You know what I mean? But if they're going to win, and if they're going to pull us back into this playoff situation where against all odds they have us talking about the playoffs here at Christmas, which I never would have thought was a possibility, at least it was entertaining. 41-33, 74 combined points. I hope I did the math right. Had an onside kick return for a touchdown. Had a Hail Mary. Tony Pollard went to the house. Like, what a fun game. So
should this game have been flexed? I mean, come on. It was at least kind of entertaining.
It was a hell of a lot more entertaining than that dumpster fire the Browns and Giants played.
Just
NBC.
saying.
I mean, I get why they did it, but the Cowboys game was clearly more entertaining than that trash heap. So, I mean, hey, it was fun. It was fun football. CeeDee Lamb played great. Tony Pollard played great. You know, we can debate the merit of whether we wanted them to win, but at least it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you. I think this defensive performance, granted, it's kind of weird because you look at the end of the game stats and they let the 49ers put darn near 400 yards of total offense on the board. So I can't give them a full trophy yet. So maybe you get the silver medal right now because there were definitely some little victories. I mean, I think they scored 24 points off of turnovers. And granted, at the end of the day, it was on the defensive side of the ball to actually capitalize on the 49ers mistakes. So I'm going to give them credit where credit's due. The secondary showed up and showed out. We haven't seen much from them this season. So again, straight little victories, if you will. The defensive line, Neville Gallimore, like you get a gold star in my mind, my friend. So I'm all for this defensive unit, at least looking like they have talked about the game plan and are on the same page. So I was at least very happy with those developments.
If I can't have number 4 in the lineup, at least I can have 4 takeaways. 2 interceptions, Donovan Wilson, Anthony Brown. That's 2 guys that are under contract for next year, by the way. And that's really, listen, I know they might still make the playoffs, but I'm thinking about the 2021 defense. I'm thinking about Donovan Wilson, thinking about DeMarcus Lawrence. I'm thinking about Antoine Woods. Sorry I left you out last night. Please don't kill me, Antoine, if you're watching this. He tweeted at me last night. I was so scared. I would never disrespect Waka Twaka Flame. Like, please don't hurt me. So the point being, there's a lot of reason for optimism about this defense, which sounds silly, but there's a lot of young talent under contract for next year. 7 takeaways in the last 2 games. Yes, they did it against bad teams, but it's better than not doing it against bad teams. And hey, in the meantime,
they have to capitalize.
In the meantime, they are somehow still alive in the NFC East playoff chase, which I don't even know what else to say about that.
I was going to say, I mean, I did want to touch on Tony Pollard for a minute before we dove into the NFC East, because the fact that this Dallas Cowboys team is still having these types of conversations when we have all but thought any semblance of hope was lost. But Tony Pollard, I mean, I feel like he was also just a bright spot in yesterday's game. Ezekiel Elliott was a last-minute scratch with that calf injury, and he talked about it was kind of giving him some pulling, so he just really didn't feel like he could go. And I don't feel like this team was super concerned with the fact that he wouldn't be on the field, and Tony Pollard took that opportunity and ran with it. I mean, he had 69 rushing yards, nice, and just in general, capitalized off of the moments he was given. You're welcome.
I don't know what I love better. Took it and ran with it, or the nice. Like, they were both really great. But I knew, I don't want to sound like a hipster, but like, I knew Tony Pollard was capable of doing that. He's shown flashes of it. This isn't the first time they've given him a bigger workload. It's just the first time that he's ever done it without Zeke. So I knew he could do it, and I was thrilled to see him deliver on it.
Does this actually put more pressure on Zeke too? Because again, this has been a conversation. Obviously, Zeke's contract, he got paid, and then his performance, we know, really hasn't been up to par this past season. And there's a lot of people calling for Tony to get more reps and maybe Zeke to lessen his load, but that's a pretty expensive price to pay for a guy who would be your goal line back. You know, like I don't know if I see it.
Well, fortunately, the Cowboys have, Zeke is hurt. Zeke has been banged up. We'll see what his availability is, but you have a built-in excuse not to push him too hard right now because you don't want him to hurt his calf any more than it already is. So you can very organically manage these two things. There's 2 games left. We'll see if there are any beyond that. But for the meantime, you have a good reason to limit Zeke's workload. People are trying to create a narrative around that, and I'm just not really buying it. I don't think it's as dramatic as people want us to think.
All right, well, I need to know next if you're buying what this Cowboys team is selling in terms of potential playoff hopes. We're going to break down what it would take for this Cowboys team to make it to January, and also really if it's viable or not. So go ahead and stay with us.
Hey there, everybody. Kyle Yeomans here with DallasCowboys.com, and I encourage all of you Cowboys fans out there to check out Talking Cowboys. The podcast is every week live on the website and on all social platforms at 9:30 every weekday morning. We've got myself alongside Isaiah Stanback, who's actually won one of those during his playing career as a former Dallas Cowboy. He won it with the Giants, but we'll forgive him for that. We've also got Heckma Harrison along with Dallas Cowboys insider Rob Phillips. It's a ton of fun every weekday morning at 9:30. Check it out on DallasCowboys.com.
All right, Dave, so we alluded to it many times before as we are nearing the end of this NFL season, but it may not be the end for this Dallas Cowboys should some very specific things transpire. And I want to get your thoughts on if we realistically think it's going to happen and if we realistically want it to happen. So let me break it down for you really quickly. Washington sits above, on top of the NFC East. And Dallas is in second place. So obviously, because Washington swept the Cowboys, they now have to lose out for the remainder of the season. And they have 1 for 3 since they lost to Seattle yesterday. And Dallas, meanwhile, has to win out. Giants, they're sitting below the Cowboys because they lost to the Browns. And obviously, the Cowboys beat the Giants. You know the story. And this weekend's game against Philadelphia, yeah, it's a big one. So whoever loses this game, their season is, for the most part, done, just beyond playing one more game for the sake of playing one more game. So realistically, do you think it's feasible, possible, likely even, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be playing in a postseason game?
It says a lot about the nature of this Cowboys season and the dumpster fire that is the NFC East, that the Cowboys playoff odds jumped from 1% to 5% on Sunday. And we're having this conversation like, oh my God, do you think they could do it? There's a 95% chance that they don't. But that's how bleak it was, that 5% feels like this gigantic window of opportunity. And honestly, Ask me again after Washington plays Carolina on Sunday afternoon. I know that sounds simplistic, but I'll go as far as to say if Washington doesn't win that game, I lean toward thinking they're not going to win the division because it all goes down to division games in week 17. Cowboys get the Giants, Washington gets the Eagles. Goofy stuff is bound to happen. Teams are going to be feeling the pressure. So if Washington can't close out the Panthers on Sunday afternoon, then I think there's a real chance for some crazy stuff to happen. And obviously, if they win, I think they go ahead and hold on to it. That's what I think.
So there are a lot of people that are very concerned about the Cowboys draft pick. And again, rightfully so, because there are a lot of necessities on this Dallas Cowboys team. And yesterday, as if this year isn't weird enough, we are all here thinking the Jets are a lock for the number 1 position and Team Trevor Lawrence up in NYC. Well, they went ahead and decided to beat the Rams, you guys. Things got weird. And I just want to know from you, Dave, realistically speaking, like worst case scenario, say the Cowboys, if they did make the playoffs, if they did make a postseason game, do you really feel like they would still fall out of that top 10 draft position?
That's why this is so important, Kelsey. They automatically do. If they win the division, even if they win the division at 7-9, they can't pick any sooner than 19th. And if they win a playoff game, then they climb even higher. If they get to the divisional round, now you're talking about picking 24th, 25th overall in the draft, even though you had such a bad year. Yes, it matters. Like 3 teams in the NFC East are going to pick in the top 12, and 1 is going to have to pick 19th or 20th. That's a crazy, crazy discrepancy. And if you want my honest opinion, that's why I don't want the Cowboys in the playoffs. I don't want to root against the success of the team. But what is the realistic end goal for this team? Are they going to win the Super Bowl? Is that going to happen? No. So what are we doing here? And I know the players are going to disagree with me. The coaches are going to disagree with me. It's their job to go out and win football games. It's my job to try to figure out how to make this team better in the long run. And the best way to do that is with a top 10 draft pick. So playoffs.
Are you hearing this, Will McClay? Dave's here to save the day.
Will would never say it out loud, but he's with me too. He's like, I don't know about this whole winning thing. He would never say that out loud. And he would probably tell me to shut up if he heard me say that. But in his brain, deep in the recesses of his brain, he's like, yes.
I can't wait for you to get an email from him about this segment. So, guys, listen. You got to draw the line. We've drawn it for you, actually. So you need to pick which side you're on, if you're on Team Tank or maybe even Team Moral Victory, because you don't want to say out loud that you want this team to win. So maybe you want them to lose, but, valiantly.
You can have it both ways. Because listen, they're not tanking anymore. Tanking would have been to lose out. But they fought back. They clawed their way into playoff position. They're 2 games away. But now that you've salvaged some pride, we can just go ahead and get that top 10 draft pick, if you don't mind. Thank you very much.
All right. So what we're basically trying to tell you is Team Tank, we're sorry, but things are out the window for you in that regard. But Team Moral Victory, there are still seats on the bus. So if you'd like to pick that side, it is available for pickup come tomorrow morning before this weekend's game. Or if you're just Team Straight Victory because we like winning and we haven't done a lot of that this year, that's still available for you too. But hey, Dave, we're not done picking sides on today's show. So we've got some interesting matchups coming up for you next. And I have a feeling that I'm going to be taking away a few victories. So go ahead and stay with us.
What's up, guys? I'm Ember Garcia and just want to invite you to check out Cowboys Break every day at 11:30 a.m. You got the boss man, Derek Eagleton. You got Nick Eman with the storytelling If These Walls Could Talk. You got David Hellman, our local LSU homer and eyebrow rubber. And then you got me, who just calls it as it is. So make sure to check us out at 11:30 a.m. on all Dallas Cowboys platforms.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This segment is brought to you by our friends at Favor. I'll send her something on the camera one of these days. Kelsey, did you know that if you sign up for the Favor app right now, you can get unlimited free deliveries for the first 2 weeks?
So basically, you can't afford not to, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, and as somebody who can't afford anything, it's been very clutch for me. I got an eggnog latte from Toasted Kitchen and Coffee down the street from our studio. And
Hey,
what
look.
did you got a mocha, which like what a perfect segue to this segment. It's like I thought of it beforehand or something.
Yeah,
Because you
something like
said
that.
you said we were going to debate, and so here is the debate. What is the reason for the season? Is it hot cocoa or is it the nectar of the gods itself, eggnog?
So I appreciate your enthusiasm for that eggy drink, but at the end of the day, the GOAT holiday seasonal beverage truly is the peppermint mocha, and here's why. Eggnog is really only good if you put whiskey in it. And what I've learned in my time, in my age, is that if you have to supplement something, it probably isn't that good to begin with. Not to mention the fact that I feel like eggnog is truly only a December drink. So realistically speaking, peppermint mochas are a way more versatile beverage. Like you can start drinking them once it gets cold. It's not just like pumpkin season. Like you can drink these like September, October on, whereas eggnog is solely a December beverage. And I just feel like for many reasons, just those two alone stand on their feet to show you why your opinion is going to be trash in a few minutes.
Kelsey, if you ever stop talking, I will tell you that your opinion is basic. You're basic. Eggnog is an anytime drink. Eggnog is great with bourbon, but it's also amazing plain. I would drink it in July if they sold it in stores. I am all about that nog. I'm trying to drink nog. I'm trying to drink like a half gallon a week. Put on my winter coat, if you catch my drift.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you say. Whatever.
So
it's
one
not.
for me and 0 for you. And you guys can go ahead and tell us how right I am and how wrong Dave is. It's not that eggnog's bad. It's just that it's less than a peppermint mocha for many reasons. So keep going. Let me go ahead and beat you in another round because I am feeling this victory.
You're basic, but we're running long. So let's just go with it and say Tony Pollard was great on Sunday. Ezekiel Elliott was out hurt. What are we doing the rest of the year, Kels? You team Tony, you team Zeke. What are we doing here?
Well, if I have to pick a team overall, I'm super pumped for Tony Pollard and just everything he's been able to do. Obviously, keeping in mind the fact that Zeke's been injured. But if I have to pick a player between the two of them, I'm going with my featured back because they paid him for a reason. Granted, listen, 2020's been a mess for a lot of people. I'm not going to fully hold it against Zeke because his quarterback's gone. 2020 in general, I mean, he needs to get his mentals right. There's a whole list of things that are just stacking up against him and his performance. I really do still believe in him and what he can bring to this offense. So yeah, I'm still riding with Zeke. I love you, T Pizzle, and I'm so hyped for you, but I gotta go with my main man.
I can hear the sound of your feet tap dancing over there, just trying to avoid, which, hey, I'm not done with Zeke as a whole. Like, he'll be back in 2021, but you know what I'm not trying to do? I'm not trying to hurt my star running back's calf with 2 weeks left in a season and have it linger. So you know what, Zeke? Until you feel 100%, you let Tony Pollard just take over. And that could be just for week 16. It could be the next 2 weeks, but he ain't coming back, in my mind, until all is right with that calf and with all of the injuries that he's been dealing with. It's the Tony Pollard show. Okay, that was a short-term question. Long-term, I'm trying to get our producer out of here, Kelsey. But Andy Dalton led the Dallas Cowboys to back-to-back wins for the first time since September of 2019. You trying to bring him back to be this team's backup next year, or are we moving in a different direction? What do you think the future holds for the Red Rifle?
I mean, I'd love to bring the Red Rifle back. I think, again, like he's the reason why this team has been able to be even competitive in the games they've been competitive in. Granted, the Garrett Gilbert moment, that was something to be witness to for sure. But if Andy Dalton wants to come back and be a backup quarterback, I'm definitely having that conversation. Do I think he wants to be a backup quarterback? No, I think man still thinks he's got something in the tank. And you know what? He very well might be. There's some teams that could use some help in the quarterback category. But if the Red Rifle wants to stay in Dallas, stay back close to home, and wear that star in his helmet behind number 4 for another season, yeah, I'm here for that.
I actually think you're exactly right, which pains me in my soul to say, because
Wow, clip this off, Caden, please. I need to put this on repeat.
I would love to have Andy Dalton back, but I think Andy Dalton might be playing well enough to price his way out of Dallas. Like, he probably still wants to compete for a starting job. He probably wants to get paid more than what he signed for in this offseason, just a $3 million salary. I can imagine Andy Dalton mentoring a rookie quarterback in a place like Chicago or Jacksonville or one of the New York teams, probably the Jets. So, have a chance to start rather than be consigned to the backup role from the very beginning. If he wants to stay here, hell to the yes. But I'm not convinced it's going to happen.
I'm signing that real quick.
I guess we've got 2 more weeks left to figure it out. But until then, thank you so much for watching The Star at Night. Eggnog will always be better than hot chocolate. We'll catch y'all next time.